This is the Blackzon Smyter Turbo 3S capable brushless desert buggy. Just from looking at the box, you can tell this car is completely ready to run. 4-wheel drive, has a metal drivetrain, oil-filled shocks, LED lights. It's 1/12 scale, has a LiPo battery and charger in the box, brushless waterproof electronics, and a 2.4 gigahertz radio. Now, we've already done a video on the Blackzon Sprite and Slider, so if the Smyter is anything like those two vehicles, we should be in for quite the treat. So, let's pull the cover off and see what's hiding inside. And right on top, you're gonna be greeted with the manual and a nice little surprise sticker sheet hiding inside. Manual's pretty decent, nothing extraordinary there. Some parts breakdowns and all that good stuff. And Blackzon's not lollygagging around because the next thing you're pulling out of the box is the buggy. Up next out of the box, you are gonna find a full-size spare tire. It is a legit tire, it's fully functional. You got the mount in there and a screwdriver as well. Whereas the other included bag inside, you're gonna find the optional rear wheelie bar, the USB style charger, and 4 extra body pins and clips inside. As for the included radio, it's a pretty basic Blackzon radio that we received with other models. When you open it up, it's gonna take 3 AA batteries in the bottom of the transmitter, has a plastic wheel, pretty standard trigger. On the back, you got your on and off switch, your reverse functions, and then you do have the steering trim along with speed adjustment and a steering dual rate. And now for the star of the show, which is the Blackzon Smyter. And as you can tell, we're gonna have to do some work on this thing before we can go out and bash it. First thing up on the menu is peeling off that protective film. Oh, you gotta get all these little bits and pieces off from around the screws unless you want to unscrew all the body panels. Look how much more that blue just pops on there without the protective film. And while the Smyter Turbo is also available in a desert truck and monster truck variant, I think this color blue is only available on the desert buggy. Now you can still get light blue in the other two variants, but this one is supposed to be the more teal blue color, and it's not super teal, but it still does look very, very good. Next on the list is that spare tire. Don't want to lose that. This, we got something better. Without looking at the instructions, I'm guessing this is how it goes. That looks right. What's nice about that rear tire too is it should help soften some of the rear end impacts this buggy takes. I got the screws out, gonna put the wheelie bar on, we're gonna have a good time today. If I don't lose my suspension pins. That's my RC rendition of Natasha Bedingfield's Pocket Full of Sunshine, if you couldn't tell. Still working on, the lyrics. Probably gonna release it under my label next month. Without any spacers or suspension block, little clips or blocks at all, really. They're just integrated into the chassis and the bumper. It makes me wonder if they're gonna wear out faster over time in the long run. We see this a lot with the cheaper bashers out there, especially I think pretty much all the Blackzon stuff. Haven't ran into any issues yet, but it just makes me curious long term. Now, it's time for my favorite part, stickers. There it is, it looks next level with the stickers on, even better. Now, one thing that doesn't really matter at all, but I did notice, the screen print pattern on these side panels is much different than the ones that I got on this one. Driver figures inside that are fully decaled from the factory. Nothing on the dash, but the drivers do look really, really good. And overall, this buggy it's gorgeous. Now, one thing I am noticing, the suspension in the rear does seem to be a little bit soft out of the box, especially now with the wheelie bar and tire added on. Pretty soft. The front feels actually really decent, so we're probably gonna have to adjust those collars down a little bit before we take it out and bash it. To remove the roll cage, it's just these 2 pins in the back, and that allows the entire cage to be picked up and rotated forward. It does have a clip style system in the front, and that is what clips on to the front of the chassis. So just 2 body clips in the rear and then just a regular chassis clip in the front. You do have a wire in there connecting the LED lights to the ESC, so if you want to disconnect that, you just have to pull this plug out right here. Now, with the roll cage off, you can get a much better idea of the structural integrity of this thing from the inside, and I will say it does have me slightly concerned, and that's because the plastic they used in this thing does kind of feel weak. I feel like I could squash this really hard and break it with my hands. But let's move on from the body and take a closer look at this truck. You get this itty bitty baby from Bumper. It's just a baby. It's just a baby. Plastic shock tower, and here is where that roll cage clips on underneath there. Double wishbone suspension front and rear on the chassis. Some nice sized metal drive shafts. And speaking of metal, the shock caps, the adjuster, the bottom little thing right there, all metal. The body is plastic though. Steering and servo link are non-adjustable, unfortunately, and it does look like the bell crank is plastic inside of there. Servo is plastic geared. You can also see the plastic output shaft there. Nice long metal drive shaft going through the middle though. Underneath of this chassis does look really cool and futuristic. However, it is Phillips hardware all the way throughout this entire vehicle, which on a basher like this, I don't really have a problem with it, but for some, it's a deal breaker. And when they say a metal drivetrain, they are not kidding. Even the hexes are metal out of the box on this guy. I'm also gonna make sure this tire is really tight putting it back on so we don't pull a MJX 14211 again. Oh no! As far as the tires go on this thing, they feel absolutely incredible. They're nice and soft, feel like they're gonna grip up really well with a good tread pattern. I'm excited to see how these tires do. Going back to the electronics, this is your 2-in-1 ESC receiver combo. It is a T-plug style connector, a little BEC taped up right there. And this guy is 3S capable. And that is going to be connected to the 4200 kV brushless motor in the back of the chassis. And something pretty cool about this car compared to most other bashers on the market is it is a rear center mounted motor. This thing is directly in the middle going back to that back diff. So that's probably part of the reason as to why that rear suspension is sagging so much out of the box. As far as the battery goes, you do not get a 3S out of the box, but you do get a 2S 1600 mAh LiPo pack with the T-plug and the balance port. Oopsies, I forgot about the 2 rear screws for the wheelie bar. And with that double wishbone suspension, you do get multiple points of adjustment on top and bottom of the A-arms. Speaking of which, I'm gonna have to move these shocks around hole position wise because even with the threaded collars bottomed out, this rear suspension is just super soft still. We may even have to go up in shock oil weight. So not only does this truck come with some pretty rad little LED roof lights, there's a freaking brake / tail light in the back. Now, it does not change when you hit the brakes or go in reverse or anything. It just glows red, but that's still a pretty nice touch. Servo actually does seem like it's gonna be decent. Like, nothing to write home about, but it should work fine. There's the throttle on slow on 2S. Crank that trim all the way up. So first impressions of this thing right off the bat, it could definitely do for some sway bars. That is for dang sure. At least on the road, I think this truck would do a lot better off-road and some bumps, some dirt, grass, that sort of thing. But on here, wants to go everywhere. Tons of sway in the steering there. But it does seem to want to flip over wheels down most of the time, so that's good. So on the flip side of that tall suspension, kind of working against it when it comes to high-speed turning and it just basically wanting to traction roll and just have a little bit too much suspension sway. When it comes to these jumps, the big tires, and that long travel suspension just soak up the impact so well. So this is some of the most direct reversing on an RC I've ever witnessed. actually landed. It didn't break, but it did come unclipped there. Oh, come on. Oh, I don't know if it's just because the wheelbase or what, but this thing looks like it should be able to do a backflip, and it comes close, but it just can't quite get there. Dang. That's gonna be the goal by the end of this video. Try to get a backflip on something. It acts like it wants to do it. Just can't quite get there. Oh, so close. Be gone, devil child. Nice. It's a new day, but we're back out here. Gonna be the second pack here on the Blackzon Smyter. See what it can do. And actually, while we're here, that is one feature that's nice. When you roll over, this truck just doesn't shut off, even though the power button's right here on the side, because you actually have to hold it. So if you roll over and it presses the button, you're gonna be A-okay. All right, back to the fun stuff. And we can't forget our goal. We gotta try to get a backflip with this thing today. Yes! Oh, are you kidding me? Yes, I knew we could get a backflip with this thing, and then to follow it up with the backwards flip. I guess it'd be a front flip. I don't know. Either way, it was effing awesome. Rubbin's racing, boys. Did not get a good run at the ramp. We're gonna try that again here. Still alive. For now, at least. Oh boy, it looks like it's about to storm. We're gonna see how much more time we actually got to bash before the rain hits. Oh, that was a nice little save over there. Got the dual rate turned down quite a bit, makes it a lot easier to steer on the road. Nice. The wind's picked up, it's all starting to rain. We're gonna try to hit this though. So on 2S, it's not incredibly fast, but can get a little bit of air on the big jump. Light bar's coming in clutch now due to it being dark with the clouds overhead. A little easier to see it. Almost took my head off with that one. Reverse donuts. If reverse donuts are your thing, this may be the RC for you. Now, it might be counterproductive, but I am really curious to see how it'll do on the baby ramp. I know we just had the big ramp out here, but I don't know. It's for science. And another excuse to jump it. Nice. Can tell the battery is starting to get low. It's not as fast as it was just a few minutes ago. She did. Now it looks like it's going to be non-stop rain the next few days here, so this is probably going to be the last time we're going to be able to film with this. This truck's pretty fun. Not really meant for the on-road use we were doing a lot of today. It definitely is going to excel on the gravel and off-road conditions like dirt and short grass, stuff like that. And it is kind of a unique circumstance. And the reason I say that is due to the size of the truck, the wheels and tires, just the scale of it. This RC is really going to excel in something like a BMX park, maybe some dirt mounds, gravel pit area, something like that. The on-road stuff, maybe with a sway bar, but the wheels and tires and suspension are larger on this mini RC car, so it does have a lot of rotation, a lot of sway in it. At the same time, diffs are open, so you get a lot of one-wheel peel. And because of that, going into heavier off-road scenarios doesn't necessarily do the greatest. So if you're looking for light off-road use, maybe a little bit of on-road, this might be a really good choice for you. But if you're doing a ton of on-road or a ton of off-road, might need to do some modifications, or you might want to look at a different RC. That being said, if this is something you're interested in, it's not a bad RC at all. It's decent on 2S. It's not super quick, but it will get up and go. And it did prove to be pretty dang tough. We wrecked this quite a bit, did not break anything on it. Barely got any scratches, really. Between the rear tire and the light pods on top, it basically acts like a big roof skid, so it kind of protects anything underneath. The driveline seems like it's going to hold up okay. And overall, there's really no complaints on this thing. Like we said, it just fits a very specific set of needs compared to a lot of other mini RCs, just due to its like in-between size and suspension features. So if the Blackzon Smyter Turbo is an RC you're interested in, don't forget there is a monster truck version and desert truck versions of this RC as well. Links will be down in the description below, or you can head directly over to our website at www.notbossy.com. And remember, keep it naughty.